Okay, today I want to tell you a story that could potentially not have a happy ending to it. The ending of this story could be me getting evicted out of my apartment, having my car repossessed, filing for bankruptcy. But let's hope things don't end that way. To the best of my ability, I'm always trying to actively work against such things. But let me start off with a tale of advocacy. I have a booking agent. Her name is Barbara. I love Barbara. You know why I love Barbara? Because she loves me and she advocates for me. Let me explain how she advocated for me on my very first gig for her. I was playing at a resort. The resort provided the sound system to me, and I played for 3 hours at this place. Seemed like an easy enough gig. I set up to play, and within about the first 10 minutes of me playing, something bad happened, which is a manager came up to me and said, "Is it possible for you to turn down a little bit?" In all fairness, I work very hard on trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. I don't feel like that's a good way to start a gig off, is having somebody tell you that you're too loud. So I actively work against that. I even pay attention to 80 decibels being, I would say, the average for a large room. It could be even higher than that. But people in a room, people occupying a large room and talking, there's a decibel level that you're trying to either get to or get past in order to stick out without being burdensome to a person talking. I had set the volume to what I thought was that. This manager came up to me and asked me to turn down. I said, "How much do you need me to turn down? Half is half good? A quarter?" And he said half. I said, "Cool." So I turned my volume down by half, which set me at a pretty damn low volume. It was worrisome to me, especially when I started singing and playing. I realized that I was nowhere near the same volume as everybody talking around me. However, I kept doing my work. About 10 or 20 minutes later, the same individual comes up to me again and physically turns me down himself. He turned me down to almost 0. So we're talking something below the volume level of 1. He set me to that. For the next 2 hours, I hollered over the top of a room full of people, and the next morning, when Barbara, my lovely booking agent, called me to ask how my first gig went, I had to tell her that I was having a hard time talking. I was hoarse because I had spent the night before screaming over the top of a bunch of people and hollering. And not singing, but hollering to try to be heard. It was exhausting and not what I was signing up for at all. And I said, if this is the way this gig is going to be, I don't know that I can continue doing this work. She immediately got off the phone with me, reached out to this company, and told the individual that was booking us there that if that ever happened to any of her musicians, she would pull her entire roster and discontinue doing any booking for them. The issue never happened again. And I had a great working relationship with this company afterwards. That's advocating. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because I am currently experiencing a tremendous amount of financial burden. And I want to explain to the best of my ability the reason why I am going through this at the moment. I've been doing a great deal of work for a larger entity. And in between this larger entity and myself is a booking agent. And the booking agent is the one that's been responsible for setting me up for work for this entity. We have the business entity, the booking agency, and myself. The entity that I have been performing music for has been taking tremendous amounts of time to pay me. I've been doing work for them for a little over a year now, like a year and 3 months. And they have never paid me in the frame of time that the booking agency told me they would. So the booking agency, in an email, they would say, "We work rigorously to make sure that you get paid within 2 weeks." And oftentimes you do, but there are some companies that don't. Unfortunately, all the work that I've ever done for this booking agency has never paid me within 2 weeks. It's always taken at least bare minimum 2 months, oftentimes 3 months, to receive payment. And this hurts my heart immensely. The pay is very good, so they're not underpaying me in any way. I almost have started feeling like they're compensating me a little bit more, knowing that it's taking 3 months to pay me for something. But things have gotten so far out of hand that they owe me $2,000. And it's been months and I haven't received that money. Recently, I got 2 payments from them. That was fantastic. I was so thankful for that. But that still leaves me with 3 payments that I haven't received yet. And I feel like the bare minimum is net 30. I think net 30 days to be paid for something is a reasonable amount of time to wait. Now here's where my predicament is. This booking agency that represents me, that's setting me up with these gigs, they are doing absolutely, positively, unequivocally nothing to change this situation. They are not advocating for any of us musicians. When I was first brought on to this company, every single thing that I was told was how this company was created for musicians, to better musicians, to better our situation, to treat us the way that we should be treated, that we see all these oversights in how musicians are treated, and we're trying to change this. It was a rainbow of beauty. And I was so happy to hear all this stuff, but unfortunately, all of the actions I've seen have not been aligning with that dialogue that we had. The company, I started going directly to the company since the booking agency wasn't advocating for me whatsoever. I started going directly to the company and saying, hey, what can be done? I tried to be very polite about it. I am still to this very day being very polite about it. I'm gaining a little bit more of a stern attitude, but I've been very polite for the most part. Unfortunately, nothing has changed in any capacity with either of these places. The actual entity that I'm doing the business for has told me on several occasions that they're doing everything in their power to fix the payment situation, acknowledging that it is extremely slow. And that was about 3 months ago, I think, was when I got that last dialogue, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to call it a lie, because I actually think that the person telling me that believes that. And I think that having a large business is teamwork amongst a lot of different people. So it's the bureaucracy thing. I'm not sure if I've mentioned bureaucracy earlier, but this isn't the first time it's been a slow pay thing for me and it causing me financial turmoil. And nearly every single time this has ever occurred to me in my life, it has always been a top-tier, high-money-making corporation or company of some sort that is incapable of paying me within 30 days. Whatever the reasoning is for that happening, it is what it is. However, having to deal with a lot of the stuff financially that I'm dealing with right now, which is a story that could potentially end with the notion of me getting evicted from my apartment, having my car repossessed, having to file for bankruptcy, fun stuff like that. These are all things that are on the table when it takes 2 to 3 months to get paid for something. Naturally, they rate very low for me. So I'm always going to take business and work that can pay me night of. But in the past 3 years, I started touring the United States more often, playing house concerts, and the vast majority of the work I've been doing throughout the year has been that, which has disconnected me from the community of people and also the clientele that require this kind of work back home in California. So when I get back home to Southern California from these tours, sometimes I have an abysmal amount of work lined up. And I'm trying to do everything in my power while I'm on tour to rectify that, but it's just not working out that way. So sometimes when I get back in town, it leaves me taking work that I know full well is going to take 2 or 3 months to pay me. And when you get down to the bottom of the barrel, and that might be the only work that you're getting on the regular, it makes it all the more important to be receiving that money, say, within 30 days. from an entity such as that. Now, the booking agency told me that they have created a payment system to where it's possible for them to get me a payment within the same week of doing work. And that oftentimes that is the speed in which things are getting paid. Yet I've never had that experience with this booking agency. And I've done quite a bit of work with them, with several different hiring entities. And it's never been that way, ever. So I really don't know all the ins and outs of why it's taking me so long to get paid. I do know that I have done everything within my power. I've written the booking agency several times. They oftentimes don't even reply to me. They make it impossible for me to reach them by phone. There is no phone number to reach them. They give me an email address and that's it. As far as the actual entity that I'm doing work for, a couple weeks ago I spoke to the regional manager of this company, and the regional manager that deals with several locations told me that we have a check for 5 payments coming to you. You should be receiving it shortly. 2 weeks passed, I didn't get anything. I reached out to the booking agency. They're like, I don't know, we haven't gotten anything. They told us they were sending us a check. That check arrived, and it didn't have 5 payments on it. It had 2. And it got me out of a little bit of the financial hurt that I was in, but just enough to keep me in the situation still that I'm in. And all of this being said, having this weighing on my shoulders and on my conscience today has made it difficult to do this, to make a video. This is one of several occasions I've tried to sit down and do this today, and I haven't been able to because I decided that it would be better to roll up in a ball and cry for a little while. Wasn't my first go-to. I actually tried meditation and several things before that, but eventually I caved. Pulled myself out of it, and now I'm here in front of a camera doing this. Talking about something entirely different than what I was originally planning on. But you know what? Maybe I'm talking about the exact thing I should be talking about.